Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for attending. I got lots of good questions. In fact, one just came through now. Nick, can you back up to the in the slides? Can you back up to the pricing? Everybody would like to see a look at the pricing again. So one really good question is, how is it branded? And so how does your customer see this? And the answer is that it's all private branded for you. So when your customer calls the help desk, it's like they're calling your office. When they log into a portal and look at their environment, it's branded like it's your brand. So it's all private branded for you. Yes.
Sorry, it's Chris. I just wanted to clarify something, because in the time that we've been offering the live virtual help desk, we've always said that it's sort of generic, not branded.
Oh, okay.
Is something changing, or in other words, it's not, the phone is not answered live virtual help desk. The phone is simply answered tech support. It's very generic. And I remember, and Trevor, you can maybe jump in. I remember it was just, it gets to be too much chance for error when you've got the same people answering calls for a number of different partners, that somebody will answer it incorrectly. So the idea was just to make it very generic.
That's exactly right. Basically, okay. we strive to basically get as much information as we can, as quickly as we can, but we don't actually hold the actual help desk engineers to an actual script. They're gonna start by saying, thank you for calling the service desk, or help desk. My name is Trevor. Can we start by getting your name, and something along those lines. However, our technicians are going to know where that caller is coming from, because on our telephones, it's actually going to have that specific number that's linked directly to your company will show up on our phones. So
right,
we will
so
know
they'll know it's one of your customers, but not necessarily
which
right. customer until they gather the information, much the same way your own help desk would do it.
Exactly.
Great. Yeah, sorry about that. I meant to say the NOC and not the help desk is private labeled. The NOC is just white labeled, so it's just everything. The help desk is just white labeled, so it's generic. But from your customer's perspective, they won't be able to tell the difference. Another question is, can we run third-party patches for applications like Adobe? Can we upgrade things like Exchange? And the answer is yes, although it's part of an add-on service that we call remote system administration. So with remote system administration, imagine you have a team at your disposal who can perform arbitrary IT tasks. That could be stand up an Exchange server, migrate these mailboxes over to it. It could be upgrade these Windows 7 machines to Windows 8. Someone asked, can I subscribe to server for my 6 servers and not subscribe to the workstations? And the answer is yeah, absolutely. A lot of our customers don't really care that much about what goes on the desktop for whatever reason, and the servers are far more important to their day-to-day operations, so they subscribe to the services for the servers only. Lots of questions about Windows only. We actually support Windows, Linux, and the Macintosh, so you're good to go with any of the major operating systems today. A question of, do we have marketing material on Watch or Manage that you can use in your marketing? And the answer is yes. We'll get that out to you. Another good question was around what level of work activity scale, or how does the level of work activity scale from routers, firewalls, switches, access points, that kind of thing. And for that, really, it depends. But in general, wireless access points and printers and dumb switches are really more of a monitoring and alerting kind of thing. We're not really remediating a lot on those devices, because there's not a lot of remediation that we can do. There is some, and certainly we can do that, but it's not a lot of activity. It's more making sure it's functional, and if it's not functional, it's usually because of something that's out of our control, power, the device failed, or what have you. In the cases of firewalls and routers and more sophisticated switches, there's a lot of activity we can do, including upgrading firmware and reconfiguring iOS or whatever may happen that causes an alert where we can log in and remotely fix it. So the activity scales along from maybe wireless access points or printers at the very low end. We're really just monitoring it all the way up to a sophisticated router where we may be working on it basically every day. Is there a per server pricing for reactive help desk that is covered by help desk for a server? I don't know the answer to that, Trevor. I don't.
There is simple server support, and that is priced the same as workstations. And then there was an advanced server model, but I believe that that is being merged into the NOC service.
Okay, great. Okay, Nick, go for it.
Yeah, one of the questions that came up that I thought was really good was asking about virtualized environments and kind of how the pricing on that works, and also do we support it. And so the short answer is yes, absolutely we support virtualized environments, whether it's VMware or Hyper-V or Citrix Zen. We support all the major virtualized platforms. But the way it's priced is every virtual server that's sitting on a physical server will be treated from our perspective as if it's its own Windows environment, and that's because it has to be patched and the performance has to be monitored and those kind of things as if it's a standalone box. But the ability for us to then manage the virtualized environment as a standalone entity and be able to move machines from one physical box to the next and those kinds of things are all skill sets where we have tremendous certification on these virtualization platforms. So if you have customers that are trying to leverage virtualization, by all means we can help you there, and it's definitely a core area of expertise. But I did want to make it clear about kind of how virtualized environments were priced out relative to the pricing that we showed earlier.
Let's see. Can I create a help desk ticket myself to have live virtual help desk set up an AD account? And the answer there is yeah, definitely. That would again be a remote system admin type of process where you would create a ticket. That ticket would go off into the NOC, and the NOC guy would log in and create the account. Let's see. Is there a minimum fee? And the answer is no. You can have basically as few devices as you want or as many devices as you want. Obviously, if you're going to make the jump to this kind of model, I think for you to get efficiency out of it, you will have the best experience by getting more and more of your customers on it, so you're dealing with everybody in a uniform way. And there is a setup fee, and the setup fee is $97 for the help desk. But that's just a one-time cost, and as I said, there's no minimum. On the remote system administration, is there a per incident charge, or how does that work? It's actually a hourly rate, and it's based on how many hours you use. The more hours you use, the less the hourly rate. And I believe the pricing starts around $35. So very, very cost effective for you to get work done.
We got another question in here that's really good about the onboarding process, and they're just talking about how do you get customers onboarded, how long does it take, what's involved. Great question. And typically from a NOC perspective, it's going to take a minimum of about 5 business days. And basically what we do is install an agent on the environment that's going to go out and do a discovery, and we're going to go through this process of seeing all the devices, and those may be desktops, network devices, servers, etc., that we can see, and we will then take that list back and compare it against the order that customer placed and determine, is there a mismatch between the number of servers and network devices and desktops from what they want managed. And the reason for that mismatch is actually lots of different reasons, but invariably there's either more devices that we found than what they want managed, or we found fewer than what they paid for. That even happens on occasion, believe it or not. And so really what we're trying to do there is reconcile the level of service that we're going to provide on each device in the environment and make sure that matches up with the order that customer placed. So that process takes a few days, and we kind of come down to this list where we'll provide the IP address of every device that's out there and kind of what its name is, and be able to designate what type of service it's going to get. And from that point forward, if it's a manageable device, we'll start picking up alerts off that device. If it's more like a desktop type device, we'll go ahead and start providing our preventative maintenance services and everything that has to do with when we're going to provide patching and all the timing of the various things that we do are things that we'll figure out and agree upon and kind of come to a consolidation. And at that point, between the kickoff meeting and the day when services are starting to be delivered, is usually a minimum of about 5 business days and can take anywhere between a week to 2 weeks is kind of an average. Sometimes the help desk even takes up to 3 weeks as a separate service from the NOC. But that's about the time frame that you're looking at from the time that you place an order until the time when we're fully engaged taking over all the alerts.
Great. Couple more questions. One just came in was, do you or can we provide reports of any kind? And the answer is yes. We have a reporting portal, and you can pull down a fair number of reports to say how many devices you have, what's going on. Of course, you see the tickets back in your own ticketing system. So if you're running a PSA tool like Autotask or ConnectWise, you'll actually see the tickets opened and closed and what happened within there. But we do have some reporting that will show you some generalized things that you wouldn't necessarily see back in your ticketing system. The other thing I wanted to add back to my answer regarding the network devices, and that is one thing I neglected to say, was we actually also manage and monitor your actual ISP. So we're looking at the network connection, the internet connection to your customer's site. And let's say in the middle of the night the network connection drops off, we actually open a ticket with your customer's ISP to get that network back up and running, if at all possible, prior to them coming into the office. And so that's a real important element that I neglected to mention.
I also want to just add one more thing to what Mitch said about reporting, because this is a really important thing to think about as a managed service provider, and that is the more proactive service you're providing to your customer's environment, the quieter things are going to get. And you may have a customer who had all kinds of issues, and now suddenly you're patching their systems, you're monitoring, you're fixing problems in a very proactive mode, and suddenly everything starts to perform well and things get real quiet, and invariably the customer starts to wonder, why am I paying this monthly service? I don't seem to be having any problems anymore. So the ability to provide regular reporting where you can really highlight the value of the work that you've performed, the patches you've delivered, the problems that you've remediated, this becomes the key to you justifying the price that you're paying them, or that they're paying you on a monthly basis. So we definitely provide a rich reporting environment, and it is a critical component of how you should deliver the service to make sure that the customer doesn't forget about the value that you're providing them.
Yep. A great one there. And then another question was, do our help desk users, our help desk personnel announce themselves as company or as yours? The answer is that we answer the phone in a generic sense, tech support, and then we start getting the customer's information. And it is the help desk user-based pricing or device-based pricing, and the help desk service is user-based pricing. Another question was, how does the username show up on the note within ConnectWise? And generally what we do is you provide us an admin account, and then we have a generic name, so it would be like your company name or whatever. So if your customer's looking in from their portal and they see a ticket, they don't see bizarre people's names. Let's see. Yeah. One good question, a really, really good question, is how much should I charge my customers? That one just came in. And that's a great question, because we recommend that you use what we call value-based pricing, or what's referred to as value-based pricing, when you price this out to your customer, because you're delivering a service that it really has different values to different customers. So there may be a guy who's got a business that's 3 real estate agents in an office, and they may have one server, and to them, if the stuff's up and down, you know what, it's not really all that important. My notebook is where most of my business is done, and I'm not running my payroll or anything else through this, so it's just not really that important to me. He's going to be paying, or willing to pay a lot less for the service than another customer down the street who's actually running some kind of manufacturing business. and his servers are very important to him, and his desktops are equally important to him because he's entering orders, and all these things are happening all the time, and every minute of the day that these machines are up and running means dollars in his pocket. So I really look at it and say you need to understand what your local competitors are offering services like this for, and you need to look at what the individual customer, what kind of value are they going to get from it. Ideally, you get all your customers on the service, and ideally the guys that are getting the most value from it will be paying you the most. So I know that doesn't give you a specific answer perhaps that you were looking for, but it's a good way of looking at it.
I'm gonna pipe in here too, just and mention I mean, this is a topic that you could talk about all year, and I mean, there's so many factors that factor into it. But oh, and I like Doug. That's very good. As much as you can. I like that. That's a great answer. One of the things I just wanted to mention though is we actually did a webinar with Gary Pica from True Methods on this very topic called how to price and package an IT services offering. And if you would like, shoot me an email. I'll just punch my email address in here. It's dan@virtualadministrator.com, and I will respond with a link to that email. So just send me an email, put in the title True Methods, and I'll send you a copy of that webinar. And that was a very very informative for how to price and package any kind of managed services offering, and this would wrap right into that perfectly. So
I think we're about out of time, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, and we've got like a million more questions, don't we? You guys have been fabulous. Thank you so much. And what I would like, if you guys have more questions or if you need answers to those questions, I would encourage you to send an email to sales@virtualadministrator.com. We'll be able to, send you some more information there. And also, it is a great idea to sign up. I mean, if you want to give it a try, this is, we always price our stuff month to month. There is a 30-day cancellation policy, but it gives you an opportunity to get in there and actually give it a try. And it's great to bring a customer on. You can see exactly what Live Virtual Help Desk is all about. These guys are fabulous. They're dedicated. They're very communicative. However you pronounce that word, and it's definitely worth it. So either way, we'll be happy to help you out. We'll be happy to get you started. It's about protecting you and your dragon slayers, your IT staff from all those little cuts and bruises that come along the way from all that little stuff. And these guys do a fabulous job of shielding you from that. So, any final words that you guys would like to add?
No, we really appreciate the opportunity, and I agree with you. You got to get your foot in the water. So if you've been kind of on the fence a little bit and you really, haven't gone out and tried it, give it a try. It's extremely valuable recurring revenue, and it's something we can help you drive.
Cool. All right. Well, I think with that, we'll go ahead and end it. Like I said, if you have any more questions, please send them to sales@virtualadministrator.com, and we will make sure that you'll get answered. So, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Great, guys. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yep. All right. Bye.